Squishies, back again with another vlog. This is Steven Universe, Season 5, Episodes 13 through 16. My Mother and Yours, The Big Show, Hopping Pools, and Letter to Lars. I'm really happy to be back to doing Steven Universe. I missed it. I missed the days when I was doing it like 3-4 times a month. Not that I mind at all having lots of commission vlogs to do. I very much appreciate those, and I enjoy practically everything I've watched for them. But I miss Steven Universe. It's a really good show. I was just telling someone, they were asking me if I thought they should watch it, and I told them that, in my opinion, it is the only contender The Good Place has for Best Show on Television. And that's true. Those are the top tier right now. Nothing else even really comes close of anything in the past few years. So I'm really happy that it's back, and that I'm getting to, talk to you about it again. So this run of episodes, not the best the series has ever had. I don't know that there is one run I would point to as the best ever. It would be specific episodes. But it's decent. It's pretty good. I guess I'll just run through the episodes in order. The first one, My Mother and Yours. I'm intrigued by the title because there's two people for whom it's describing their mother, but who are those two people? Because Rose Quartz is Steven's mother. So are they saying that Rose Quartz was kind of like a mother to the revolution, which I can kind of see? Or are they talking about the only other significant figure in the story, Pink Diamond, and that she's, in some sense, a mother to... Yeah, that's where it kind of falls apart. I don't know. It's interesting to me that the story Garnet tells is not true. And I wonder if she knows whether or not it's true. Because that is definitely not what happened. That can't be what happened. Once again, they say that Rose shattered Pink Diamond with her sword, but Rose's sword can't shatter gems. This was stated outright as being what it was made for, to be incapable of shattering gems, but to proof them very easily, because that's what Rose asked Bismuth for. That was kind of the core of the conflict, represented by their two weapons, Rose's sword and Bismuth's breaking point. It was really nice to see Bismuth acknowledged again. I still hold out hope that they will find some way to bring her back. I know this is the problem with celebrity casting. It's very hard to bring a character back. But hopefully they will find some way someday, because she is like one of the great wounds in the show. One of these things, sometimes a show will have something that either is resolved unsatisfyingly or left naggingly open in a way that kind of demands that it be addressed again. And that is Bismuth for Steven Universe. On so many levels. On a story level, it's a conflict that was never really resolved. On a thematic level, it's the example of the show's struggles, in the show's desire to be incredibly diverse in so many ways. It's a point of failure where it had some issues in terms of race. And that's something that needs to be, it needs to go back and heal in some way, if it can. Or at least there's a pull toward that. If the show never does it, I feel like what usually happens with those kinds of wounds is either a show goes back and deals with them, or they become fan fiction fodder. Because they cry out for something to be done with them. And if the show creators won't do it, well, that's what fanfic writers are for. But it's still, to get back to my main point, it's still really intriguing that Garnet lied, or was lied to, about what happened. Because Pink Diamond cannot have been shattered by Rose's sword. And this episode actually introduces another possibility that Stephen airs, that maybe Pink Diamond was never shattered at all. Maybe in some form she's still around. Maybe she was poofed and sent through Lion or some other means back to that other planet. Or I'm still holding out the possibility that she was shattered by one of the other diamonds. Or by Pearl. Those are kind of my leading theories. Because Pearl's sword, we have no reason to believe it can't shatter a gem. Or there is still the possibility, the final possibility, that Rose used another sword. That's where the error lies. That Rose used the sword that could shatter gems. All possibilities. Yeah. So that was a good episode. With some solid backstory stuff, but it left a lot of questions. The next episode was probably my favorite of the bunch. The Big Show. I really like Sadie Killer and the Suspects. They're a great band. They've got a good sound, and I really like the characters, and it's a really great direction for Sadie. And it's a really great story element to kind of keep us grounded and invested in Beach City, even while all these cosmic things are happening. And I note that, while they had Letter to Lars and went to his ship, it's still very much back and forth between, 3 of the 4 episodes were about Beach City, because Letter to Lars was still about Beach City. It also appears that this block took place over a single day, or 2 days. The captain's log that starts the block was on Thursday, and the captain's log that starts Letter to Lars was on Friday. So that's actually an unusually precise and short time frame for a block of episodes. Anyway, there's not really much to say about Sadie Killer, just that I really liked it. It would be interesting, and this is fan fiction fodder again, but it's where my brain is today, apparently. It would be interesting if the pink-haired woman, mystery girl, whatever you want to call her, showed up at a Sadie Killer and the Suspects concert. Maybe. And I like that Greg has something new to do. And I like that he's being a good manager as opposed to Marty. Yeah. Next episode, pool hopping. Interesting one. Of course, the point of it is to show us that, it's a way of saying, Stephen is growing up and his parental figures are having to deal with it in various ways. And we get to see Garnet. Garnet is really heavily featured in this block. Pearl and Amethyst are barely in it at all. Pearl, in fact, they're both, if I recall correctly, only in Letter to Lars, and they're not in it much. So I hope they get some more focus soon. Also, I hope Peridot gets some more focus soon, but I hope Peridot always gets all the focus because I love Peridot. Garnet is always an interesting character, though, and it's nice to see her get focus. It's just that, like, she gets I just like the other gems, too, and I like them to get focus, too. I don't begrudge it to Garnet. I just hope the next block has more of the other gems. But the anxiety underneath her cool exterior always makes for a fun dynamic because she and Pearl are like mirror images of each other. Pearl has this very anxious outward persona, but at the core of that is absolute conviction. Garnet is the opposite. Garnet always seems cool and to know exactly what she's doing, but underneath that there's this core of uncertainty and conflict. Her entire being is fire and ice. And while she maintains them in balance, there's still, where those meet, there has to be storm. Because that's what happens when cold and hot meet. So right down in the heart of Garnet, there is that. And normally that takes the form of passion. Whether that's the passion of the relationship between her two halves, or the passion of her fierce love and defense of the other crystal gems and Stephen. But sometimes it takes other forms, and sometimes it takes the form of this anxiety, especially where issues with her future vision crop up. Not knowing what's coming when you're used to it is scary. And I imagine it must be a frightening experience for a parent to realize that that their child is now growing up and is behaving in new and more mature ways and is no longer coming to them for support. In fact, it occurs to me that that's kind of a recurring theme in this block. In Sadie, the Sadie episode, a lot of it is about her relationship with Barb and the fact that she's moving on with her life and growing up and doesn't need or want Barb to control every aspect of it. But that doesn't mean she wants to lose her mother entirely. She wants her to be in her life, just not taking it over. And that can be a tough balance to strike. Garnet trying to deal with Stephen growing up. And in a sense, Mayor Dewey trying to deal with the town growing up. She's, it's moving on. It no longer needs him, and he has to find something new. But I'll get to that when I get into his episode. Garnet, Stephen is now having an impact on the world around him. He is growing up, he is making choices, and those choices are having consequences, and he's no longer necessarily relying on the crystal gems as much, and Garnet has an adjustment period for that. Also, Cat Stephen is freaking adorable. I just got the pun in the name, and him sleeping on top of Lion is amazing and adorable. I just hope he doesn't, accidentally fall through the mane and out of Lars's head. Although, on the other hand, Ship's cat is a ancient, venerable, and adorable tradition. So, not that there's much concern about Lars's ship getting rats, but, So, yeah, coming to the last episode. Honestly, this was the least interesting of the bunch, mostly because I don't like Ronaldo, and I don't like Mayor Lars, and Ronaldo had a whiny fit in near the beginning of the episode, and then the whole rest of it is. Did I just call him Mayor Lars? Freudian slip. Mayor Dewey. I don't care for him as a character, really. And I don't really care that much about him being sad or whatever, that he's no longer needed. But okay, the town has a donut shop again. Yay. Yeah, I think the main thing going with it is the episode kind of fits into the theme of I'm moving on and I don't need you anymore, which is the core of teen rebellion, which ties it into the first episode, which is about Rose Quartz growing up and not needing Homeworld anymore. So, yeah, good block, nice thematic through thread. The show's been getting better and better about doing those. Sometimes a block will be one story, but other times it'll just be thematically related, and the show's getting really good at dealing with that. I think they're finally adjusting to the weird-ass release schedule. That, or they just, in the past, Cartoon Network didn't bother to tell it to them, which I can completely believe. Because like everyone else watching any show on Cartoon Network, I am baffled by their programming decisions. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon for early access to vlogs, gaming videos, essays, and more. And I will see you all next time. Bye!